going to vote them out.
I'm here tonight because I'm a woman and a Jew, and Trump as a president puts my life and the lives of my queer, trans, friends of color in grave danger. So I'm here supporting them, and I'm here supporting my boyfriend who's an immigrant. All of our lives are at risk, and we have to resist.
And the ones who are fighting in the name of our children, who deserve to be loved, who've been taken away with no choice in this world. Tears and pain. Tears and pain.
I sort of see Donald Trump as having some characterological issues, and I actually feel quite bad for the man. I think he has narcissistic personality disorder. But I also think it's an opportunity for us to look at how this happened and how it could be that when we're passive or not doing things to make more of a difference, how someone like that can come into power. And so sometimes really awful things have to happen and systems have to be completely broken in order for us to come together and fix them. And so that's why I'm here, to spread that peace and to be the difference.
A moving car, when you drive it into people, is not free speech. Doing what Milo Yiannopoulos does, targeting trans and undocumented students and outing them to violence, is not free speech.
What I'm saying, it's about breaking down our ability to stand up for us. So we might not always agree on tactics and tendencies, but we better work them conversations out amongst each other and figure out how to stand together.
Water is life, air is life, land is life, and it's time to pass budgets and policies and institutions and create jobs that are life-affirming, that build people up.
After Saturday, our Pittsburgh chapter decided to write a letter to Trump. Some of you may have seen this online on social media, making it clear that Trump is not welcome in Pittsburgh until he renounces white supremacy and white nationalism. I am so proud and so thankful that Move On and Bend the Arc partnered together, and with the permission of leaders, of our Pittsburgh leaders, published this online letter, and we actually collected 150,000 signatures from Jews, from allies, supporters, in support of Trump not attending or not traveling to Pittsburgh.
And I would like to have children, and I would like to feel that I am birthing my children into a world that is both just and in which they will not suffer.
Over 98% of people with asthma are African American and Latino. So this is for our future generations. Listen to us, see what we have to say, and do something about it.
And it's not worth going to school and learning how to be in the world if there's no world to be in.
That has grown up with school shootings, but we are the generation that will stop them. Yes, we are children and teenagers, but we refuse to be passive witnesses of history. We are change makers, and we won't sit and wait until we are old enough to vote. All the politicians and lawmakers out there know this. We are coming. Our generation has lived through this all. And if they refuse to listen now, you can bet they'll be listening this November as thousands of new 18-year-olds eagerly cast their first votes.
So my presence here is to honor the land, offer land acknowledgements, and to raise awareness around MMIW, Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women.
And as we're pulling into the third year of this so-called administration, what are some of your thoughts?
I pray that we remind ourselves that we are diverse, unique individuals, but we need to bring the unity into community. We can celebrate our differences and still fight for the rights of nature, still fight for rights of our women, and to protect the mother and the children and the next generations, to ensure that our decisions and decision-making practices are respecting all life systems.
Seeking asylum is a human right.
I am here today to speak on behalf of my undocumented community. A community that is forced to live in fear and in the shadows. I haven't felt the pain of leaving my family behind in hope of finding a better future in America.
Living in fear is not living. Avoiding places where there are lots of people is not liberty. How can I pursue happiness when hate-filled people have access to weapons that can, in 1 second, take my life? Dear senators, if you don't act, we will vote you out.
I think we all know what's going on down in the border and how families are being separated and kids in cages and children and family that have been lost and passed away because of our border circumstances. We are not family, we are not animals, and we are human with feelings. And we need to start fighting. And now we all say, if you would all join me and start saying this, sí se puede.
Our children have been locked into concentration camps. Our families have been torn apart. Tu familia es mi familia. We can create and fuel a spark that will spread across this nation like a California wildfire of love.
Monday of this week, the school I worked at shut down because my children were soaked with smoke from wildfires burning, while millions of people did not have power in this state because the infrastructure cannot take this anymore, the planet cannot take this anymore, and we need to stop pretending. It's a privilege that we have had for decades now to live in a country and a place where we can continue being lied to and continue pretending that the climate crisis is not worsening and not affecting millions of people all over this planet already. But if this week has showed us anything, if the last several decades have shown us anything, it's that we cannot afford to pretend anymore. We have to wake up, and we have to help others wake up to realize that it is here.
It's a privilege to be able to choose to not go to class, right? But to be here and to be able to speak up on a campus with a legacy of freedom of speech, with a legacy of disruption and civil disobedience, and transcending above whatever BS prohibits us from moving forward together.
But the government must tell the truth about the climate and wider ecological emergency. The government must enact legally binding policies.
The government must enact legally binding policies
to reduce carbon emissions to net zero by 2025.
To reduce carbon emissions to net zero by 2025.
I'm here because I take my freedom of speech, my freedom of protest very seriously. I think it's important to voice our disconcern with how our leadership is being run right now and how our government is being run right now.
You want to be able to tell your future children and grandchildren that you were there at a time and you did something.
We have to go beyond just deleting it towards actually reforming it or breaking it up in some way that makes it more transparent, more democratic, less extractive, just a less horrible thing.
This is not a partisan issue. This is something that impacts both parties, and there isn't just 3 branches of government. There's 4 branches, and the 4th is the people. That is us. It is our responsibility to hold them accountable and ensure that this doesn't happen under our watch.
Yes, they joined. We didn't ask them to. They asked me what position the protesters were taking. We told them, and then they hopped in and just stood there. It was awesome.
How do you feel about that?
It's great. I think it's amazing because some of our students haven't been able to vote yet. So this was a way for them to exercise some of their rights.
This isn't new. Like, Trump isn't the one that brought about all these issues, but Trump is the personification of a ton of things that are wrong with America right now. And I think that it affects my generation because we're the ones that have to grow up in the aftermath of what he leaves, if he leaves anything. But I also think that I'm not just doing this for me, I'm not just doing this for people my age, I'm doing it for my children and my grandchildren. And something that my friends and I talk about a lot is like, we might not be here to see the results of our work, and hopefully we will be. But even if we're not, we have to be okay with that, and we have to do it for the next 7 generations, not just ourselves.
I'm here because, like a lot of others in my generation, our democracy is in jeopardy. There aren't going to be many people left like the people here when I'm an adult or when I have grandchildren that can attest to somebody being there to defend and uphold it, because clearly that's not being done by the leadership in Trump's administration.
This upcoming election is one of the most important elections in our lifetimes. This next president is going to shape our future, our country, and arguably the next things coming along.
Scientists have found that we have 10 more years until the effects of climate change are irreversible. That is just one of many things that are at stake when deciding who is going to sit in the Oval Office for the next 4 years. I do not want to watch the world ignite around me.
However, one thing that is unique about our generation is our ability to focus on all things needing change. Whether that is the racial equality, common sense gun reform, climate justice, indigenous rights, school funding, and the list goes on. We focus our energy on everything because we have hope for a better future and present. We are here to fight the fight that many have given up on.
Sam, I'm with Never Again Action. Really great to see everyone here, even in this crazy time, practicing social distancing and practicing civil disobedience. Right now, there are 52,000 undocumented immigrants in detention centers across the country. That's 52,000 people in the exact conditions that allow COVID-19 to spread like wildfire. And right now, we're part of a growing movement that's demanding governors, mayors, and elected officials to do everything in their power to release people from ICE detention centers before COVID-19 turns them into death camps.